What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jordan Kurtz here with PunchDrunkGamer. You can follow me along at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. I am here with the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. We have Austin Haverkamp. Austin, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Where can people follow you before we get too into the thick of things?
All my social media is pretty much the same. Instagram, Facebook, whatever. It's all going to be at austin.haverkamp, just my first and last name.
Awesome. Well, keeps it easy enough right there for you. So, speaking of which, though, like I said, you're the man of the hour. You had a massive victory this weekend at APFC over Winged C. What are your thoughts? Just still relishing in the moment, still soaking in the afterglow, if you will?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I kind of had a fight already lined up like right after Wing C. So it definitely always helps to just come back home and kind of get refocused right away. So I'm kind of there. That was definitely a big night, and so the emotions of that were super fun. But I didn't last too long on that one for me, just because from a skill standpoint, I don't know. The only real worry was all the hype behind it. Everything else was just, I knew I was going to beat that dude's ass. I just had to get in there and do it. So
Love it.
after I got through that, I'm definitely more excited for the next one than
Awesome,
this
man.
last one.
We'll dive into all those things there, circle
do it.
back to the future fight, all of that. But, first thoughts, like what went through your head when you got the call when Wing C was the offer that they gave you? What was your first impression?
I really didn't believe it, dude. I was supposed to fight on a Virginia card in December. I was supposed to go back to Richmond and fight in that same venue in December for them, but that card ended up falling through. They ended up making that APFC India. And so they sent me that they had an opportunity for the New Mexico card. I said I was interested to hear about it. They sent me his Tapology. I didn't know who it was at first, just because on his Tapology it has his legal name. His real name is Malcolm Schuyler. I have no idea who that guy is. I just figured it was someone. So I said yes right away, and I went into his Tapology and I saw the nickname, and then it was just, I don't know. I didn't really believe it was that guy, but it was. And I saw the post, and we got the contract within an hour, and so I was just stoked about the fight the whole time.
So was it immediate yes, or was it? Yeah.
I didn't even think twice. I had seen all the highlights. I've seen Mighty Mouse training, Death Sentence, and all the YouTube stuff. So I already knew who the guy was. Once I saw the name, there was no question about whether or not I should take that.
Okay, because that was kind of what I was wondering was, being that he does kind of have this weird internet cultish type of following behind him, if there was any sort of aversion because of some of the antics or because he has that much of a spotlight on him, if you will. But you said pretty much was nah, run it.
That's what made it so inviting, dude. To fight that guy with those special guests in attendance for this promotion, the spotlight and everything that would bring as an amateur, you don't get that opportunity very often. And that was something I knew as soon as they sent it, and that was really all I was thinking about. And my plan is just to keep going up. So that kind of opportunity is something that you just, as a fighter that has the goals that I have, I don't think I could have said no to that. That's the best opportunity you can ask for.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you hit some pretty key points right there, because as an amateur, a lot of times you don't really necessarily get a lot of the rub or get a lot of shine. And, secondarily, because of who his following was or what his reach is, well, now he has 130,000 Instagram followers on top of whatever his other channels. Well, all of them just saw you finish him. So that's a major opportunity. Definitely. And that's a huge resume booster for your side.
100%. His record looks good. He was 6-1 going into that fight. That looks good on my Tapology. That looks good for rankings, and that looks good for everything. And that's one of those fights where, like I said, the hype is the only real reason that you wouldn't want to take that. But I feel like that's a great thing to experience, just a style like that and that kind of pressure. In an amateur fight, when it's not even going on a pro record, it doesn't even matter. That's when you should be experiencing shit like that. And that was the most pressure I could have possibly had on me in terms of the media and the eyes on it that you could ask for at this stage.
I think that's a kudos to you, and you just having that true fighter spirit and warrior mentality, because I think, I've been in the game for a long time, and where we're at kind of now, especially with some younger guys in the game, not to completely bash all of them by any means, but we have kind of entered a bit of a pussy era in a lot of ways a lot of guys who they're like, oh no, well I want to take that fight once I'm getting paid, or once there's bigger stakes or whatever on the line. I come from an older school of the game where I feel like you should be fighting multiple different styles, different types of personalities, all those sorts of things as an amateur, so that when it's time for things to be for real, for that record that lasts with you for good, you're not having to learn as much on the job. Like, you're always going to have to learn a little bit in the early stages, but you're not having to take maybe some of those bigger lessons once you're a pro.
Definitely. I 100% agree. I mean, you see it all the time. Like, people pick their way through fights a lot more. Like, some of the boxing mentality that I feel like is come over in MMA just a little bit. Like, it's hard to avoid it at a certain point. Like, once you're in a high-level promotion, like, obviously all those guys are really fucking good. So at a certain point, there's no choice but to fight tough opposition. But definitely in these amateur ones, like, people are thinking about social media now and sponsorships, and they're thinking about all this other stuff, and that will come with it as long as you actually focus on the fighting part, and then the rest of the shit will come with it. But if you don't focus on the fighting part and you're just fighting these bums, you're gonna learn some real tough lessons when it turns on for real and you do decide to step up and fight someone good.
Absolutely. Now, with Wing C having all of his crazy theatrics and like the stuff that he was doing in the build-up, fight week, all of those sorts of things, did you do anything different to prepare for it, or was there anything that you maybe did training-wise, or had like your bodies within your camp maybe try to mimic some of his crazy stuff?
I've had people throwing crazy shit at me all camp. I've had people throwing all kinds of big spins and jumping kicks and trying to wrestle me as hard as they can and putting on crazy paces for 5-minute rounds instead of 3s. And, you know, I was doing all that in preparation for him. Like, a guy like that, he makes all those antics. Like, those antics that he does just play into exactly what his actual technical fighting style is. And all he really has for people, and that's how he's beat all 6 people by close decision, is, like, making it as chaotic as possible and making people match that chaos instead of just staying calm. The only thing you have to do with a guy like that is stay real calm and composed, and just remember that you're fundamentally better and you're going to find all the shots that you need to, all the positions you need to. Like, a guy like that can only keep up with you if you panic with him, and then he'll just out-spaz you in certain positions and win close scrambles and blitz with combos that look better than they're actually landing, you know?
You clearly did your homework on him and saw some stuff in advance for him, but did maybe any of those videos or like the Mighty Mouse clip of him getting a head kicked or any of that, like, you know, straight tracer style, same hand, same kick, all of that, did that play a factor into your strategy or approach at all?
Of course, yeah. I mean, DJ knocked him out flush, like sparring a few months ago, doing that to him, like on accident. He didn't throw a real kick, so. And then he fought that dude up in Canada a couple weeks ago, and he got hit with the exact same kick. No offense to that guy, he didn't look like he knew how to kick like I feel like I do. I feel like my technique was just way sharper. So I know if these people are either accidentally knocking him out or just able to hit him with that same weapon, like, yeah, when I put that on you, there's more consequences to that.
Love to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, being that it was as short as it was as far as the actual fight time goes, did anything that he do surprise you?
Yeah, you saw I kind of stumbled on one of the shots he hit me with. I can't really say he hurt me. I don't know, fighting's weird. I was kind of like off balance and in a weird position and making some weird like stance mistakes. But he did hit me with a super clean straight punch down the middle. I like stepped in weird from southpaw, tried to overcommit on a jab, and he sprinted off the same side and hit me with a really clean straight cross, and that's skillful to do. So I had to definitely respect that for a second. So that kind of surprised me. But everything else, he did literally everything else I've seen him do in every other fight. Throw weird spinning stuff and same side punches and blitzing with his hands down and back out and square his stance up and move side to side. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. Yeah.
He's pretty kind of long and awkward in a way. Was that something that you had to factor in as far as, you know, figure out, like, how do I get inside? How do I find my opportunity?
I've been fighting tall, long guys since I can remember. I mean, I'm pretty short for the weight class, especially when I was like 16, 17. You know, all the dudes that were fighting at 130 to 140 were 5'9" and up, and I'm, you know, 5'8" on a really good day. So, you know, like, you know, when I'm wearing the right shoes, I can hit 5'8". But so I've been used to getting in on tall guys all the time. I train with tall, long guys all the time. I train with dudes bigger than me, smaller than me. I train with everybody. So that wasn't really a factor. It was more just the mental component of not playing into the fact that he does that shit. Like, the only reason it works is because you look at him and you think about the fact that he's doing it. If you just don't think about what he's doing and you just approach him technically and try to hit him and you throw clean techniques at him, you're going to hit that dude. It's really easy to hit him.
Understandable. We're in a in a business where people have some crazy tattoos. They've got some real interesting artwork. Lots of guys with face tattoos and all of that. But I don't know. I mean, and I'm not talking like however many thousands of fights that I've watched to those that I've done commentary directly for across multiple disciplines, whether it be boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA, grappling, whatever. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody with a headband tattooed, like just a full circle all the way around the head.
With like red crosses in it all the way around.
Yeah.
You can't see that in the picture, but when you're in person, like there's red crosses in it all the way around the headband. Yeah, he's got some. I don't know what's up with that dude. He's an interesting character. He didn't break character at any point throughout the weekend. Like face-offs before the fight, after the fight, he was like sitting and sombering and doing his anime stuff. So I don't know, man.
He had like the little like sound bed clips like added into his like post-fight reflection stuff like right away. Like I don't know, like some of that is almost man, you're focusing on all the wrong things though too. Like
yeah, man,
adding the little like winged or the chirp sounds and all of those. Like I don't know.
It's kind of what I noticed all weekend, you know. It's kind of one of those things I felt like he didn't really feel like a real person in front of me. Like, you know, when I'm fighting, like, and I'm fighting someone, I'm going to face-offs, I want to look at this person and kind of see what's going on, see what you're feeling, see how we're feeling, see what's going on tomorrow. You know, that's what we're there for. But he's just playing theatrics the whole time, so there's no real point where it feels like we're actually engaged in something that's about to be a fight. I think that was a really big advantage for me because I was ready to fight the whole time, and he had steps. He had to make sure that he got his comments in and got his theatrics in before he could fight. Otherwise, why fight for him? And that's why I beat the shit out of that guy 2 days ago.
Yeah, I believe like the kids call it aura farming.
Yeah, whatever, dude. you gotta be able to knock out good fighters if you can aura farm for real, whatever that means.
Yeah, I mean that's again. I'm older. I've come from a different generation of where like. The main thing was the main thing.
Like, yeah.
You got notoriety and you got noticed because you were a good fighter, and then in time, some of that flair came along.
Yeah, and you can have your own style. Like, you can present yourself really well, but I don't know. That's not a natural. It's not a natural type of reflection. Like, that's someone trying really hard to be a character, and I feel like that's just because you have to be that character in order to fight. You can't just fight as you are. You have to put yourself in this space to be someone else in order to fight me. Then I'm just going to be there as me, super calm and relaxed with the skills that I have, and that'll win every time against someone like that.
I mean, in a way, like, just to play devil's advocate, it's almost kind of impressive to not break character at any point.
Oh, it was really impressive. Yeah, and to, like, bend over and smack your ass at weigh-ins in front of everybody and then play the whole gig all the way through and be that way all the way through, that's impressive, man. To get head kicked and choked and then walk around and still have that same kind of personality is kudos. Good to you.
And I get that, he fancies himself like this anime martial artist and all that sort of thing, but the thing where I really, I was willing to give a lot of that a pass until after you choked him out and you tried to pay homage and pay respect to him like a martial artist does, and then he pushed you off. So to me, that was just kind of like, and I couldn't read exactly what your lips said, but it was almost like all right, well, fuck you too.
It's actually exactly what I said. He pushed me and the ref pulled me off. I said, fuck you, pussy, you tapped. Because I don't know. I get it. I've lost fights too, and I've lost fights that I shouldn't have thought I lost. I've also got my ass beaten fights where I've been like, I'm totally going to whoop this dude. There's no question about it. So I guess I understand what he was like going through at that moment, especially. I felt like pressure was on me because everyone's in the back telling me I got to whoop this dude's ass. But I guess that also means, all that pressure was on him. He's the one bringing in all the views. Right. He's the one. I'm the one getting to reap from it, and I'm the guy that's going against him. But he's the one that's carrying all that on his shoulders. He's going to maintain that character, and that takes a lot of energy. And when that all crashes and it doesn't work the way it was supposed to, and then something big like that happens, your head's all fucked up, you're still not quite there. I don't know. We're fighting. I get it. You can push me, but I'm not cool with that. That's fucked up. Yeah, I would never do that, but
No, it was a dick move
for sure. For sure.
And especially after you have a 5-minute walkout.
Especially after you tapped. Especially after you play all this crazy anime stuff, and man, I got to squeeze, bro. Listen, yeah, I got to squeeze, but if you're gonna like dig your fingers in my mouth and do all this stuff and like play dirty, and then you're gonna tap after 2 seconds of me squeezing you without even trying to fight it properly, like,
yeah,
fuck you, dude, and then push me off. You gotta own up to what just happened after that, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was actually kind of surprised. I mean, there was a large amount of people out there that were, on your side of that, like, okay, well, this dude's a dick. Like, he's not a real martial artist in that sense and, being disrespectful in that sense. But he's got a lot of stands out there that were like, oh, Wing C, you're still our GOAT and blah, blah, blah. Like, which is, I guess, cool that you have a loyal fan base in that sense. But some of it is also, like, you got to call a spade a spade. And when someone acts out of pocket like that, like, whether it was, like, my friends or my close homies who fight, or if they take a loss, whatever. Well, no, there's sometimes where you gotta say, like, dude, you were wrong in that moment. Like, maybe you don't air it out in the comments or whatever, but it's like in that, our talks in the gym or whatever afterwards, or just interpersonal. Like,
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, like, that was probably a wrong move.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's just the internet now. I think, like, especially a guy like that has people like that and plays that kind of a character. Like, people that play that kind of a character, the people that are fans of that are the kind of people that, will probably just attach super hard to the idea of that person and want to see that person succeed. And, if you want to support that guy all the way up, support him all the way up. But he still got head kicked and choked and then tried to push me off of him after I was like, hey, man, it's... And I was trying to be cool, it wasn't like I was trying to be, like, I don't know, like, degrading to him or anything. Yeah. It's just like, hey, dude, I know what we do, and that sucks. Like, what just happened, if that happened to me, I would be feeling probably pretty similar to how you're feeling right now. So, like, I get that. I'm not trying to put you down. I just want you to know, like, hey, that's pretty badass that a guy like you came from the street beefs, and then you're actually on an APFC stage right now in front of all these people taking a real fight against someone like me, so...
And like you said, I mean, he was 6-1 going into that fight, so it's not like it was just a flash in the pan, sort of situation. He has made the walk multiple times up to that point.
For sure.
So there has to be at least a certain level of, the respect that goes into the matchup, or healthy respect in that sense. But then you get in, and then you see, like, okay, well, there is some levels to this.
Yeah, for sure. And you see the footage from before. Like, I've seen the people he's fought, and no offense to those people, but I mean... none of his wins impressed me. Like, I saw that he was 6-1, and that kind of made me nervous the first day, but then I went back and watched through all his fights, and I was like, yeah, never mind. That 6-1 doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, totally.
So,
well, especially, I mean, and we'll get a little bit more into that later, but you've got a plethora of experience through the years, too, at this point.
Yeah,
but
very much so.
As far as back with the show, what was it like getting to meet somebody like Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson, who was there in attendance, sharing a card with Gable Steveson?
Man. That, like... The Gable Steveson was actually sick because, I mean, that dude's the #1 heavyweight prospect in the world right now, and he's not even in the UFC. But he very well could be very soon. But it was awesome being on a card with that guy, with someone with that accomplishment and with that much views. Like, Wing C brought our fight specifically a bunch of views, but Gable brought a lot of eyes to that show just in general, too, So those two combined was perfect for me, and it's cool to see a behemoth like that can move like that in person. You don't believe it till you see it in person. That dude's a freak of nature. And then there was a second part to that question. What did you?
Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse. Oh, dude, that was awesome. Yeah, I nerded out on him probably 2 or 3 times just because we were so close. His guys, it'll be cool. Hopefully that comes out sometime soon. But his guys were like filming me in preparation for the Wing C fight, and we were doing like a bunch of like back and forth interviews and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll be in some sort of breakdown or like Wing C fight vlog or whatever. So that'll be cool. That was super fun to do. But it's really cool just being so close to a guy that has the achievements like that. Like those are the achievements I'm looking to make. So to be around one of the you could probably count on one hand or 2 hands the amount of people that have the same respect level that he does in this sport. So to be around that and get to feel that presence of somewhere in the world is phenomenal. And get to fight in front of that, and to get to fight someone so close to him and have that kind of a performance against someone so close to him, like, that was an honor for me. That was super cool.
That's awesome. And you said, too, that you felt like APFC did a really good job of, like, just kind of bringing you through, like, a true big fight week experience, doing some media ops and all those sorts of things.
Dude, APFC is the most, professional backstage promotion so far that I've seen. I've been to, like, some couple LFAs, and I haven't been to Fury. They're not in Texas. Oh, no, I've been to Fury here in Colorado. That's why I have been to the Furies. I've been to at least a few of the local promotions. APFC is just phenomenal, especially as an amateur. The whole weigh-in process, the media process, the way they do the commentary interviews, the way they do the pre-fight pictures, everything is just super cool. It feels really legit. Everything is at a certain time, designated to a certain person. You get a fight kit. They'll put your sponsors on the fight kit for the most part. And then fight day, like, it's a real cage, it's a real canvas. It's not one of those shitty, cheap, like, local promotion canvases. Everything is real. So getting to be under lights like that, even the lights feel different when you're walking out, like, the brightness of the lights and the way they switch and the way the announcer they hire is really good. Everything is really good about it.
That's great because, I feel like that is something that sometimes, depending on what your path was or what shows you fought up to, getting towards, say, like a Contender Series or even guys all the way into getting to the UFC.
Definitely.
Sometimes that bright lights or all of the pomp and circumstance of the fight week stuff, that gets to some people.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're kind of getting, baptized by that experience at an early point or still as an amateur, then it just becomes another day at the office.
Yeah, it's really great. It feels so different than any other show that I've done before, and it feels definitely like it's not even comparable to the tournament fights that I've done. Like, getting experience on big shows like that with big lights, with big eyes is the best you can ask for at this stage in the career.
Definitely. Now, that all being said, let's reel it back here for a minute. Now, you just turned 20, right?
I turned 20 in October, yeah.
But that being said, you've been fighting for years. I've had a firsthand witness account, sitting cage side, ring side, whatever it may be, for 5280 to Combat Club to, going to state tournament, all those sorts of things, and watching for years. What kind of, got you into fighting way back when? What was your age when you took your first fight, and what put you on the path?
So I grew up doing, like, karate. My family, one of my uncles owns taekwondo schools, so we've always kind of been into martial arts. So we moved out here to Colorado. I started doing karate for a couple years. I stopped. I stopped martial arts completely for a good while. I was doing just other stuff, other sports. And then, I don't know, I just kept seeing MMA highlights, and, like, I would always just be in high school, like, daydreaming about fights and moments like that, and I just really needed something to focus on all the time, and I finally one day just looked up an MMA gym or jiu-jitsu program or kickboxing program. I was just kind of looking for whatever. There was a UFC gym, Lone Tree, kind of nearby, so I started going there and I took, like, one jiu-jitsu class and one kickboxing class the same night. We would do an hour of gi jiu-jitsu and then an hour of kickboxing drilling. And after the first night, I was, like, in forever. Trained for about 6 months. Had my first smoker. I was definitely not prepared for that. I definitely should have. I definitely think it's smarter to train for a longer time before you do your first fight. But I got kind of lucky in that fight. I TKO'd him in the third round, and that was it. From there, it was just everything training.
How old were you for that one?
15.
15.
I was 15 when I had my first
15,
smoker.
16.
Yeah, I started training, like, a couple months after I turned 15.
Okay.
Started training for real. Yeah.
Because, like I say, I remember, like, you had long hair. You were.
Yeah.
Was it? I can't remember what the first 5280 fight that you had was.
Ryan Pyatt.
I was gonna say I thought that it was Pyatt, and now he's like, speaking of those kind of
dude.
fire hydrant and light pole type of dimensions or the dynamics of the fight, like that dude is super tall.
Yeah, and that fight was a scrap. We had fought at a smoker too 2 months before that. So we fought at Oscar Martinez smoker in August, and then we fought at 5280 rematch to make our amateur debuts in October. Yeah. So we fought twice, and they were both just
clackers.
Hard. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. Yeah. And now that dude's that's my boy. We went out and did TBAs together one year, and he's one of my best training partners when we do train together. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's kind of crazy how that all goes full circle at times.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
But that's, I guess, like, not to keep on bashing on the Wing C situation, but real martial artists or, like, real fighters in that sense, like, once you've shared that experience, like, you both left a piece of each other with each other in that time frame that you fought, however many times, and sometimes guys, especially in the early stages and depending on, when you guys be in teens or juniors, whatever the technical classification is, there's not always a lot of you, especially depending on what the weight class is. So sometimes you might fight each other a bunch of times before you finally get to the adult levels where there's a little bit more of a pool to choose from for fights.
Yeah, that was hard. That was always hard. Like, especially, I'm a big believer in activity. I think activity and experience are like the most important things for building a skilled fighter, just because that's what we're doing. You cannot replicate fighting at all. You can spar, you can do all kinds of stuff, but there's nothing that's equivalent to walking out and being in a cage and having cage time. And so when you're a junior and there's not other really juniors to fight, and there's so many rules around you fighting, like commissions have such strict stipulations around kids under a certain age fighting and the rules with that. So it makes it really hard to find fights. And so that's like why when you're 17, if you have the option to do the adult division, you just hop into the adult division. That's what I started doing. I turned 17 and just tried to get into the adult tournaments and the adult grappling everything and trying to get as much experience as possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's another question I was going to ask you, because like my first introduction to you was in the striking world, and striking specialist events for a while. But you already answered the question. I was going to say, when did grappling kind of come into the picture?
So I did my first smoker 6 months in. I had my first jiu-jitsu tournament 2 weeks after that smoker, and I took gold. So I've been grappling the whole time. I love seeing all the Instagram posts talking about being a striker and having all these striking fights, and now I'm 4-0 with 3 submissions.
Yeah, that's
like
another thing
I've been grappling the whole time, so there's no concern for me being anywhere. I have a good amount of experience in grappling too. Like, I haven't grappled as much as I feel like I've kickboxed. I feel like I definitely focused on kickboxing competition more because it's free and you can make ticket sales. But I've had at least like 6 or 7 jiu-jitsu tournaments, and 2 or 3 of those were ADCC opens, and I've done a CJJC, so I've done the cage jiu-jitsu matches. Like, I've grappled the whole time, and I've gone to a bunch of different grappling gyms, and now I feel like I've got a really good program going consistently with my jiu-jitsu, and yeah, I'm ready everywhere. Yeah,
that's awesome to hear, because I was going to say, yeah, the striking acumen, obviously, throughout the years, but 100% finish rate now as a 4-0 amateur with 3 of those coming by way of submission. So that's I guess, a kudos to you for being a well-blended or a well-balanced fighter in that approach.
Yeah, I think you have to be now, especially like with the next generation of fighters that are coming up, like all the other people that are my age that are getting into the levels that I am now, and then they're going to be in the UFC and within the next 5 to 8 years, like, everything's going to change a lot, and so you have to be ready for that next wave. I'm not training for the people that are the best right now. I'm training for the people that are the best 10 years from now. So that's like where my mindset has to be and where my skill level has to be.
But yeah, so I mean, that's a great segue into, you're talking about you're training for what is to come for the future, not necessarily basing the model off of what's going on now. And that's I think a wise beyond years sort of approach to it, because we do see, I guess, so many evolutions of the game through the years. Because if, say, you were a guy like someone who, when I was your age, the pros and the guys who were maybe not necessarily like the top dogs, but like the large portion of the crop, they're, and it's not to bash them, but compared to what the talent is now,
it's not even close.
It's not even close.
Yeah, no, not at all. You see guys like my age beating up people in the gym that are far ahead of them in their career, like, frequently. That's a normal thing. That's like always the evolution of sports. The next generation is always going to be better. And you look at a guy like Ilya. You look at how he's cleared like this whole last generation of fighters, like Volk and Charles and all these people that are in their mid-30s, and then you see a guy like Ilya come through and clear him out like it's nothing, and he's 28, 29. That's only a 5-year difference. So like, think about the dudes that are 5 years younger than Ilya right now.
He did what Max did to the previous crop, and then ends up clearing out Max in the process, which was a heartbreaker, but
that's how it goes. That's the cycle of what this is, So like, you think about the dudes that are about to be where Ilya is now, and then I'm the kind of generation behind that, so I got to be thinking like just high, above everything. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I got to ask then, what's next?
So I don't know if I'm really allowed to share this, but I'm going to anyways. It's amateur. I don't think it'll matter. I'm fighting for the APFC belt in 135 belt February, March.
Awesome.
So yeah, that'll be coming up somewhat shortly.
So obviously that's the next target that's in line. But you're pretty professional already at your age, even still at 20 as an amateur. Or is your path already? Do you have an idea of what the direction is?
A little bit. I feel like this has been a great year. I made my debut in January. Now I'm 4-0. So that 4 fights, 1 year, 4 finishes. I think that's perfect for.
Fight of the night for us at Combat Club.
Yeah, fight of the night, submission of the night at Colorado Combat Club. One of the fights of the night, too, at that first APFC. That kid beat my ass for 3 minutes. That was crazy. But then, now this last one. So maybe just another duplicate of this year. Like, I'm a big believer in cage time. And the next guy I'm fighting is definitely a much scarier opponent. So I'm super excited to step up and take that challenge and show, like, what my actual level of skill is. And I think as the next few fights go on, like as my opponents get better, I'm going to look better too, because it's kind of the thing of when you're fighting people that are a little newer, you have to kind of lower your level in order to control that type of situation first. So when I'm fighting these guys that are a lot more professional looking, like the fight's just going to look even better, and I think that'll play to my style even better. So another duplicate of this year against guys that are higher level. And then, I think that's it. I think it's time to go pro after that, but
okay.
We'll see from there.
That was going to be my question. Is okay, perfect world. You go get your hand raised, get this title. Is pro next, or are you looking to collect a couple amateur belts?
I'd like to defend it against like the best amateurs in the country or out of the country, like whatever that looks like. I want the guys that as amateurs, people are like, fuck no, I'm not fighting that guy until I'm a pro. So this year was a good test for me to get into MMA, get my feet wet. I fought super tough guys. Like Wingsy's not tough, but he's had experience and all that. The dude I fought before that for APFC is super tough, freak athlete, crazy. I mean, Owen. Owen's a beast. Owen trains with one of the best teams out here. Like, he's super good. So to have those 3 this year and then just have another 4 like that next year of people that are just better and better and better, and that'll make me feel prepared for anybody as a pro.
And then in the specific side of striking too, you fought some guys who now they're also MMA fighters, but guys like Luis Garola or some of those were tough tests too in the process.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Does that add to your confidence that you've already fought so many tough guys and tough tests?
I fought, like in kickboxing, I fought so many A-class kickboxers as like a B and C-class kickboxer. It was probably not smart, but I said yes to everything, and I think that paid off just with where I am now, because I just know the level I face. Like Luis Garola, I've seen him a few times around the gym now. He's like 4-0 now?
Something like
after
that.
He just beat that Jacob Beltran guy submitted him. Like, having fights with a guy like that, especially getting beat by a guy like Luis Garola, props to him. He was a way better competitor than me that night. Like, I definitely underestimated where his skill level would be, and he knew how to fucking show up and put the pace on and land the shots, and that was really good. So having fought guys like that, I fought several national champion kickboxers, guys that have won TBAs, guys that have won USMTO, guys that are professional kickboxers now. Like, I have no shortage of experience in that realm. I feel pretty confident that people I've competed against, and seeing how they're doing now makes me feel pretty good about where I'm going to be doing next,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just adds to the lore, I like that.
For sure. It's a great story. It's going to be awesome to tell people about come 10, 15 years from now, going back from day one and just going through all of it.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Now, for this fight, was there maybe like a song, a quote, maybe a movie scene, anything along those lines that told the tale for Austin going into the Winksy matchup?
Yeah, my walkout song, Napoleon, the Suicide Boys song.
Okay.
Yeah, that was perfect. That was I was planning to walk out for that. I was supposed to fight this dude, Micah Doyce Jr., in December. I'll still beat your fucking ass, Micah. I'm coming for that soon. Don't think that's not happening. Let me get this title, and then if they let me, we can run that shit. I'm gonna fuck you up in front of everybody. But I was supposed to fight him, and then that fell through, obviously, on that Virginia card. So I don't know, man. I'm ready for whatever's next.
That's awesome. I mean, just an oozing of confidence. I mean, you could tell that you're soaking it in, like it's really like, it's something that you're kind of actualizing like who you're becoming as a fighter and a martial artist, which I think is fun to see. Like I have a very unique position to get to watch a lot of you guys grow and develop through the years. Like I say, like I first started watching you fight when you were 15 years old to where you're at now. It's been an impressive and a fun journey to watch.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Hopefully the next 5 years is even cooler and even bigger, and everything just keeps going like up and up from here.
Definitely. Now, Austin, as we start to tie things up here, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Training partners, friends, family, sponsors, coaches, anyone?
Oh, dude, everyone at Pound for Pound Muay Thai, everyone at Bird BJJ. That Bird BJJ program is awesome. Jared and Sebastian are phenomenal coaches, and they're pouring a lot of energy into us, and I really like the dedication they have to the MMA side of grappling. And so big shout out to them. If you're in the Parker Aurora area looking for somewhere to train, or just the central Denver area looking for good open mat, definitely go check out Bird, dude. We have really good jiu-jitsu. The people in there all have a strong fundamental base. And obviously I've been at Pound for Pound. I was a UFC gym for 6 months, but then after that I went to Pound for Pound, and I've been at Pound for Pound since then. So I'm very loyal to that gym and the people there. Corey Galloway, my head coach, he's a Colorado veteran, and he pours so much into me, and so do all my other teammates. Alex Rigo, Dylan Martin, they're both about to fight on this Colorado Combat Club card in December. Those guys help prepare me so much. I feel like I have the best team in the world, and getting good bodies with the boys up at Havoc, with the people down at Hama. It's cool now being in Colorado, and now that I'm traveling to fight, it definitely opens up Colorado for me to go train more. And I like that, dude. The talent in Denver is as good as it gets. If you can compete here in Colorado, if you watch amateur fights here in Colorado and you watch amateur fights in any other state besides a couple, it's just not even the same. It's not even the same thing, dude. So if you can compete in Colorado, you can compete anywhere.
I totally agree, man. And I see it even being in the gym all the time, where we'll get guys who come in they have a good record as pros, and they come in and they're getting smashed by amateurs. And it's just a difference of the level of what Colorado MMA or what Denver MMA has become, across some of the big camps. You mentioned some of those to, there's a couple of young studs that are over at Genesis or with us at Factory X. There's some really good talent just all across the board on the amateur side of things that are rising up. So, I think that it's a different scene here, especially when we bring in some guys sometimes from out of town for shows, and again, like on paper this guy has a good record, and you look at who he's fought, sometimes they're all good on paper, they're good wins, right? They're beating guys who have a winning record, or they're not fighting backwards record type of guys that are doesn't seem like they're just tomato cans in that sense.
When you get to Denver.
But then when they come out here, and it just looks like an entire different level of the game.
Our understanding of everything. And that's because of the people that we have out here and the people that we have had out here. When Grudge was the gym and it was all those guys, to now the generation that has come after Grudge and the people that are coaching from that generation. Pound for pound, I'm so blessed to have J-Ho, dude. That guy's his mind and his knowledge of fighting is phenomenal. I would follow that guy's program anywhere. And then we have Corey's over at Hama. He just fought for the world championship, and Brandon's over at Hama too a lot of the time, and he's fighting for the world championship in a couple weeks here. So having those guys here brings everyone else here, and that just makes the level so much higher, and makes us as the amateurs, having access to those guys directly gives us such an advantage, and it just makes the scene out here so much better and so much more trustworthy when you're going other places.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's and again, it just kind of circles back to the real martial artist angle of things. Guys like you mentioned, Brandon Roybal holds a very close place to my heart. He's one of the very first guys who I was training with in the gym or learning with way back in the day. He's the one who put both my blue and my purple belt on me. So through the years, that's somebody who I have a close attachment to.
Your purple belt, jiu-jitsu?
Yep.
Something, I don't think I knew that. That's super cool.
Yeah. 3 stripes, but who's counting?
Hey, as you should be. You should be counting.
But yeah, I'm mostly no-gi now at this point, though. I don't really put the gi on too much. Doing it a little bit more now that we brought some gi classes back, which it's in a way, though, it's, because I'm getting old now. Old guy stuff kind of helps. Man, I'm about to be 36.
You're not fucking old, dude. you can say you're starting to get old when you're like 50. You can say you're starting
to get old. You know, there's some mileage on the body at this point.
You're
but
good, man.
well, I appreciate the kind words there. But yeah, it just there's certain aspects of it though that it's different though with the gi, right? So it's maybe in certain ways like it's kind of reinvigorated a little bit of a passion for certain aspects of grappling for me. Cool. And there's just certain portions that I feel like, you know, gi has fallen way less on the popular side over the last few years, but I do still think that there's some valuable aspects to it, especially as it relates to just general self-defense or things along those lines, like to know that, okay, well, if you do ever have to find yourself in a defense situation, knowing where to grab for collars or lapels or those sorts of things, like I think there is like some real true like real world or self-defense applicability that goes with it. And it's just nice to have a little bit of time spent in it just so you keep those things sharp, if you will.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, just like anything else, if you don't use it, it's not to say that you entirely lose it because you still know that technique.
You'll lose that sharpness.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Sharpness, some precision, some of the timing for some of those things where it just kind of, again, it just adds a little bit of a different level or a different iteration of the game that just kind of helps, I guess, stay well-rounded in its own way.
And it gives you something to, like, mix your brain up a little bit. Sometimes when you're doing the same thing, like, over and over and over and over, it just gets boring and repetitive and you stop actually learning what you're doing. So having something to shake things up a little bit is definitely always nice.
It's nice a little bit to slow things down sometimes because you little young fuckers who are fast and just super scrambly and all that, it's like, all right, let me staple you down for a second. Yeah. Like I'll show you that old man strength for a minute.
Yeah. And you got that lapel and like the actual gi to grab onto. Yeah, that definitely changes things.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, we're gonna tie things up here though, Austin. So just real quick, one last time, where can people follow you?
At Austin.Haverkamp everywhere, Facebook, Instagram. I think those are really the only two social medias I have right now. So go hit those up and let's do some big numbers.
Absolutely. Oh, that's one more question I guess I asked. What was the social media bump that you got? Like, did you have a spike in followers or anything like that?
A little bit. I got like 500 followers so far, but it's not been crazy. But the views have been crazy, and the messages are what have been crazy. Okay. Like the people thanking me for beating this dude's ass has been crazy. My message requests have been blowing up.
Sure, an overwhelming sense of fulfillment.
Yeah, that was super satisfying. Of all my fights, like, that was one of the two most satisfying finishes that I've had for sure. Like, wrapping that guy up for everybody was pretty nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But folks, there you have it right there. We're speaking with Austin Haverkamp, who had that massive win over Wing C at APFC. I'm Jordan Kurtz with PunchDrunkGamer. We'll see you next time.